Life Hacks Beyond Convention with Dee and Sonia.
Because when I went to Port Puri, like, have you been out towards where the old uranium section is? Like, if you're heading on down, way down the terrace, right,
Yeah,
yeah, and just keep going. And then
yeah.
it turns into, like, I didn't even know this was there. So I was just out one day. I just thought, I'm just going to go for a drive. And it was like a ghost town, Dee.
Okay.
Like, you could see where they'd taken houses down, and there was all trees and whatnot had, grown and
Mm.
hadn't been taken down. But you could see old fences and whatnot. And it was just really interesting. And I said to Mum about it because I didn't even really realise that was there. I
Yeah.
just didn't. And yet I was raised in Port Puri, but we obviously never went down there. And it was
Mm.
fascinating when I started asking Mum about that section of town. And of course, I think we've talked before about the fact that she had to leave work when she got married
Yes.
because she worked at the smelters. But where some of her friends got work was at this uranium plant that was
Okay.
I know, right?
I had
It
no
was like
idea.
that made sense of some of the. See, I vaguely remember in the 80s, early 80s, there was a bit of controversy because they were talking about some sort of uranium something. I can't remember the details. Now, I was young, like, and I
Yeah,
didn't really
quite.
care.
Yeah, quite close to the smelters. We were parked there for a reason, and I looked at a sign and it said something, that was all fenced off, and it said something about being dangerous and you couldn't go in there. So there's obviously was storage quite close there as well.
Yeah, well, it was quite fascinating that there was this huge industry, and also through the war in the 40s, like the 40s
Mm.
war, World War Two would be a better way of putting it,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? Like, Mum just said, like, because there was a whole lot of air airmen that were there. So I can't
Oh.
remember now whether she said it was because they had a training base or something, but there was a lot of Air Force presence, and a lot of them were American.
Well, there was an army base up in the hills between here and Pirie in Beetaloo.
Oh, maybe that's what she was talking
Yeah,
about.
because
Beetaloo, maybe, yeah.
yeah, but also you've got
I didn't get the feeling it was
airport.
Beetaloo though, but maybe she didn't actually say, and I just made something up in my
Mm.
mind.
Well, there's an airport at Pirie, so it would be logical to have that. Like it's a
Yeah,
good
well, I
sized
was thinking that
airport.
it was the airport, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure
And
now whether she
there's
specifically said airport or
mm,
whether I extrapolated. I can't
yeah,
remember.
I think that we forget that there's little pockets of history. We have fuel bunkers in our town from those days.
Mm,
So there's fuel bunkers here in Gladstone. There's the
mm.
army camp that was up in Beetaloo. Yeah. And then with an airport and a place the size of Pirie and train line, I imagine that they had pockets of the forces everywhere. So,
Yeah, so it is fascinating. And when I was just talking to her, and then when I actually we ended up going for a drive because I said it's just like a ghost town, love.
yeah.
And that's what it felt like. I felt like getting out my camera and taking
Mm.
a video of this ghost town that's just on the edge of Port Pirie. But yeah, and she remembered, oh, there used to be a playground here that we'd play in, and yeah,
Oh,
just all
wow.
different things. Yeah, it was amazing. And there's nothing. You just
Mm.
can occasionally see where there was old fences. Now, I'm
Yeah.
assuming that it was all cleaned up as part of either the lead from Port Pirie and
Mm.
or something to do with the uranium.
Uranium.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've got no
Mm.
idea. I, I didn't
Yeah.
research it. I just took note that it existed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
And we
mm,
sort of hear about uranium as something a long way away from us all, don't we? And something we don't want near us.
mm,
So, so they're not going to
mm.
advertise where it used to be because, oops, that would,
Well, it
yeah.
just made sense to me then about, like I started to say earlier, I heard all this controversy in the early 80s, I think it was, about they're wanting to do something with uranium and in like just on the outskirts of Port Puri. And suddenly I thought, oh, okay, it made sense if there was already a whole lot of infrastructure there, that's why they
Yeah.
were talking about it. Yeah,
Mm.
it never went ahead. Obviously, there was a lot
Yeah.
of people that didn't want it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but interesting because I mean,
Yeah.
when we're talking about the whole climate change thing, you know, apparently nuclear power is a really efficient source of power.
Yes. Yeah. It's
So,
efficient.
and if
And
there is, so if they were to ever investigate it and put into place, you know, nuclear electric nuclear powered
nuclear
electricity
power.
plants,
Yeah.
is that what
Yeah.
they'd be called? Then I guess they'd need uranium and stuff, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It does. I think it doesn't matter what you do, there's going to be a downside. So it's weighing up
Mm,
which downside you want or you're prepared to tolerate. Yeah.
mm.
Because I always thought glass, like the solar panels, were the best. But then I saw some pictures of where a storm went through, and I realised though that land where it went through is just littered with tiny shards of
Yeah, so
glass,
it's unusable
and you
now.
can't. Yeah. So, and it's the same with the wind towers, and the vanes are made of fiberglass, and there's tiny bits of glass in everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's not as simple as what people
Some
think,
would,
is it?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
it's a complex
mm.
problem that we've got.
Yes.
But anyway,
Yes.
all of that because we were talking about history, because that was just
Yeah.
fascinating. When
Well,
I
it's an
had to
important,
ask Mum about different things. Yeah.
yeah, it is a port, obviously an important part of Port Pirie history and connects everything else as well.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Paul Pirie was a major player at, like, part of what I read. So that then got me, because I have got a couple of books, history books, that I was given as a young person, history of Port Pirie, and of course,
Mm.
all I did was put them in the bookshelf.
Yeah.
But I was really glad to be able to get them out, you know, 40 years later. And Port Pirie at one point was the 13th busiest port per, I can't remember now whether it said per population, per capita or something.
Mm.
But it was one of the
Okay.
biggest ports in Australia anyway. It was actually pretty much equivalent to the Newcastle, one of the ports out of Newcastle.
Wow. So where did we go wrong?
Really
Well,
instrumental in the history of South Australia.